Now, this is the second part of the video on vectors, which will mainly focus on directions. So, getting familiar with directions are essential in understanding vectors. It is important not to get lost while studying them. So, as we all know, we're dealing with vectors, which is basically magnitude, unit, and directions. So, this will focus on directions in standard position, directions in pairing, and how do we know a specific direction of a vector? Ang dami ko nang sinabing directions. Sige. So, this is as you all know, this is a Cartesian coordinate plane where we indicate directions such as north, east, west, and south. We're familiar with Cartesian coordinate plane na x and y axis only, but for physics, we'll still be using x and y axis, but in a manner na we have north, east, west, and south. So, you try to imagine this as like a pilot or a captain of the ship where we are trying to look for directions of a specific ship or just in case, parang ganun. Sige, so let's try to identify direction. So you have here three vectors with you. You have a red vector, a blue vector, and a green vector. So what we'll try to look here is the direction. So assuming that the vector in blue, sabi dito yung vector in blue natin daw ay equally divides the quadrant, we say the direction is northeast. So here, you can see north and east is a perpendicular line. So ibig sabihin, they have a 90-degree angle. If it divides, if the blue line divides equally north and east, we can say that this is 45. This is also 45 degrees, right? So we don't have any problem with that, kaya natin siya tinawag na northeast. However, we have a problem in terms of color red or vector red and vector green because we cannot say that they're both northeast because yung red natin mas malapit sa north, yung green naman natin mas malapit sa east. So we have a problem in terms of identifying directions. So there are two ways actually. Two ways of naming two names in naming directions are the following conventions: standard position and with bearing. So yung standard position natin is basically related with trigonometry. And then yung bearing naman natin, yung mga narinig nyong northeast, east of north, north of west, south of west, or something like that. So let's begin first with standard position. Now, yung standard position here is basically yung definition niya, an angle in standard position if its vertex is located at the origin and one ray is on the positive x-axis. The ray on the x-axis is called the initial side and the other ray is called the terminal side. Now, it's a little bit confusing because they're using a lot of terms, pero ang pinakamadaling isipin dito is that kung ito yung Cartesian coordinate natin, north, east, west, and south, gaano daw siya kalayo sa initial side? So, this is your initial side. Okay, how far is it from the initial side or the standard position? Okay, so siya yung parang basis kung nasaan or gaano siya kalayo from the east. Okay, it's always the standard. Okay, so basically, as you can see here, there's already the answer. Balikan ulit natin yung sinasabi natin from the standard position na east ha. This is east. Ang sinasabi lang kasi sa kanya, that's why we have north, west, and south is that basically from the east, nag-move ka ng 90 degrees from the east, you have your north. Nag-move ka ng 180 degrees from the west, from the east, you have your west. Nag-move ka ng 270 from the east, meron kang south. So generally, yung north, west, and south natin, yung basis natin para masabing may north, west, and south tayo ay palaging yung east. Kasi siya yung naging standard natin or yung standard position natin palagi. Kasi ito ay 0. Okay. Now, going back here, you can see here that blue is northeast. So, ibig sabihin 45 degrees siya. So, assuming we have a protractor. So, halimbawa, nag-measure ko talaga siyang protractor from the standard position from the east. Ito would be less than 45, of course. So, sabi dito siya ay 30 degrees from the standard position. Gaano siya kalayo ulit from the standard position. Yung red naman, from the east or from the standard position, sobra siya ng 45 kaya sinabing 68 degrees from the standard position. Okay? So, ganyan yung kinalabasan sa kanya. It's always from the standard position. So, don't have to worry about north, east, west, and south because pag sinabi natin from the standard position, always from the east siya. Gaano siya kalayo from the east. Okay? Now, next, same thing with trigonometry. I think diniscuss na rin ito sa inyo before. Meron tayong counterclockwise and clockwise convention in naming our angles. So, if it's counterclockwise, so opposite ng ikot ng clock, from the east, of course, that's always your standard position, your angles should always be positive angles. So, ito ay 0, 90, 180, and then 270. So, dito naman, clockwise position from the east. So, clockwise yung ikot niyan. Same with the relo. This is 0, 90, 180, and then 270. The difference is, pag clockwise yung position mo, it's negative angles. So, negative 90, negative 180, negative 270. This is very important in terms of finding the angle of a specific vector because sometimes the vector will give you a negative angle. So, ibig sabihin, it will change the position of the quadrant. Kasi pag sinabi natin position in the quadrant, pag sinabi natin positive 30 degrees, so nandito siya, right? So pwede natin sabihin na positive 30 degrees, it's in the first quadrant kasi quadrant number 1 to. This is quadrant 2. Nag-review lang kita, quadrant 3, and then quadrant 4. If it's negative 30, here, kung negative 30, ibig sabihin, it's in the fourth quadrant. So you can see, iba yung position niya in terms of quadrant, iba rin yung magiging direction niya, iba rin yung magiging bearing niya, which we'll be discussing later on. Okay, so please take note of this thing. Okay, next. Now, let's try changing different vectors into their standard position. So, halimbawa, let's just say this is, dito sa arrowhead tayo nagde-depend ha, 25 degrees, ito naman na ay 69 degrees, ito naman ay 35 degrees. Kaya, try natin. Let's try color red, kasi gagamitin natin for color red, and green tuloy. Gagamitin natin is counterclockwise muna from the standard position. Counterclockwise. Clockwise. Basta, clockwise yan. Okay? So, let's use the red vector first. From the standard position, which is here, gaano siya kalayo? So, from the east, gaano siya kalayo dito? Now, you know that the whole angle here is 180, pero nagsobra ka ng 25. So, what you do is, you subtract 25 from 180 to get the value of the standard position. So, 180 minus 25 will give you 155 degrees in standard position. Sir, pares pa rin ba yung value ng 155 and 25? Yes, because yung 25 is co-terminal angle yung term sa, that's the reference angle of 155. Okay? If mamaya, pag kinuha natin yung components nila, introduce ko yung term na components, halos parehas pa rin naman siya. Okay? Next, let's try the blue. Yung blue naman, gaano siya kalayo from the east. So, again, this 180, pero may pasobra siya ng 69. So, 180 plus 69, gaano siya kalayo from the east ulit yung ginawa natin is 249 degrees in standard position. Baka magtanong kayo, sir, paano po malalaman kung mag-add ka or mag-subtract? Take a look at the illustration and how it looks like in terms of the angles and gaano siya kalayo from a specific, from your standard position. Sige, next naman. So, 35 degrees dito. So, 270 na to. Usog ka pa dito. So, paano mo malalaman yung angle na to? So, pwede mo naman palang gawin na 360 minus 35. Ito ng buong angle yung makukuha mo. So, 360 minus 35 will give you 325. So, yung yellow natin ay 325 in standard position. Okay? So, imbes na kinuha natin tong value na to, mahirapan pa tayo. Pwede man, 35 minus 90, makukuha mo na siya. Pero gusto mo na lang mag-subtract ng 35 sa 360. Right? para makuha yung the rest of the values. Sige. Now, let's try naman, paano naman kung ang gagawin natin is clockwise. Okay? How will it differ? Okay? Paano siya magiging different? So, let's erase this first. Teka, I'll just pause this. Okay. Let's try yung clockwise na direction naman. So, from the east, 35. From standard position, yung yellow natin ay negative 35 degrees in SP or standard position. Next, from the east, okay, so dito ay buong 180. So, subtract natin 69 minus 180. Regardless of the ano ha, yung parang minus niya kasi syempre kung negative, ma-positive siya. Something like that. So, dito kasi kinukuha mo lang yung value niya. So, consider it as parang not really scalar, pero in a sense, negative lang kaya si direction kang, yung negative natin, more on direction lang siya. So, 180 minus 69 is 111. So, yung blue natin is 111 degrees in standard position, pero this is negative. Okay? While the red one, dito, this is 180, negative 180 technically, plus 25. So, 180 plus 25 will give you 205, pero negative 205 in standard position. Okay? So, hopefully your teachers, if you're still having a hard time changing it into standard position, will still give you more problems about this one. Pero napakadali naman talaga technically. Okay? Okay, so since we're able to understand what standard position means, which is basically from the east lang naman siya, or the distance of an angle from the east, let's proceed with direction with bearing. So, yung direction with bearing is an angle's direction which includes the combination of the major directions identified in the Cartesian plane. Northeast, southwest, north of east, south of west. So, yung northeast, southwest ay basically yung mga 45-degree angle yun, or yung mga nag-divide lang in the middle of a major direction. Pero yung north of east, east of west, is actually more on determining kung gaano siya kalapit sa east, gaano siya kalapit sa west. Now, to simplify this, you can see that meron kami sa reading material na binigay dyan, but kung sinabi nating north of east, it originates from the east, and then ito yung pupuntahan niya. Okay? Parang ito yung first position, ito yung second position niya. But generally, pag tinignan nyo dito, it originates from the east. Okay? Pag east of north naman, ano yung saan siya galing? Ito yung first position niya, north. Yung second position niya ay east. Sinasabi ko lang yung term na position, but technically, yung saan siya nanggaling and saan siya pa punta. Okay? So, that's the main difference between the two. So, we'll have this later on para mas madali. But, technically, palagi naman, ang tinitingnan lang natin palagi ay yung nag-originate from the x-axis. So, palagi yung originating from the east. Okay, so it's either north of east, south of west, or north of west, and then south of east. Tama ba? North of west, north of east, south of west, south of east. Yan lang yung apat na major directions pag nag-problem solving tayo. We'll just show it to you later on. Okay, let's try this example right here. So, halimbawa, this is, sabihin natin, papunta dito, di ba? So, nag-originate siya from the west. So, 30 degrees. So, we can say that the red vector is 30 degrees north of west. Tama? From the west siya papuntang north. Sige, try naman natin dito sa kabila. Kung 30 to, since 90, ito ay magiging 60 degrees. O, since nag-originate siya from the north, this is west of north. Diba? Kasi yung nag-originate siya from this axis. Okay, so I hope that's clear. Let's try another one. So, medyo malaki-laki dito. Sabihin natin this is 70. Sige, hindi. 65. 65 degrees. Nag-originate siya from the west. So, this is 65 degrees south of west. 65 minus 90, 25 lang to. So, ito ay 25 naman. 25 degrees from south siya nag-originate. So, this is west of south. So I hope you can see the difference between the three of the angle with bearing from the standard position. So, from the standard position, of course, magva-vary lang naman siya, pero halos same lang naman yung lalabas sa kanyang value. So, halimbawa dito, ito ay 26. Sige, galagman kitang butal. 26 degrees, this is south of east kasi nag-originate siya from the east. So, 90 minus 26 is 64. So, 64 degrees east of south. So, yan. Sana nakikita niyo yung difference nila, yung difference ng mga direction nila sa with bearing na direction. Okay? Sige. At the same time, sir, yung negative po ba, ilalagay pa namin, yung south of east kasi denotes na negative na yung direction mo. Okay? Kasi naka-clockwise ka. Which we'll be discussing later on. So, yeah, yan lang naman yung parang ano dyan. Kasi yung negative sign, hindi na siya masyadong tinitingnan pagdating sa direction because the direction na south of east determines kung negative siya or positive or counterclockwise or clockwise siyang angle.